In the deepest dungeon of Egypt, where hope should die, a man waited, calm, unbroken, and radiant with faith. He was once a slave, once betrayed, once forgotten, yet his heart never left the hand of God. And while kings slept in their palaces, he dreamed of meaning. Until one night, the ruler of Egypt awoke trembling, haunted by a dream no one could explain. A dream that would break the silence of years and summon the forgotten prisoner into the throne room of destiny. This is the rise of Joseph, from the darkness of a cell to the light of a kingdom. Please like, share, subscribe. Part 3: The Dreams of Kings. The dungeon was silent, carved deep beneath the palace, a forgotten world of stone and shadows. Yet even here, where hope should die, Joseph's heart remained lit with faith. He was no longer the boy cast into a well. He was a man tempered by patience, crowned with quiet wisdom. In the darkness, he served the prisoners with gentleness, speaking words that soothed hearts worn by guilt and fear. To some, he was a mystery, to others, a light. They could not explain it, but in his presence, the heaviness of their souls felt lighter. One night, two men were brought to the prison, both servants of Pharaoh himself. One was the royal cupbearer, the other the royal baker. They were cast into chains, accused of betrayal. For days, they sat in silence. Then one morning, their faces pale and troubled, they approached Joseph. "We have seen dreams," they said, "and there is none to interpret them. Tell us, if you can, what they mean." Joseph's eyes shone softly in the dim light. "Interpretations belong to God," he said. "Tell me what you have seen." The cupbearer spoke first. "In my dream, I saw a vine with 3 branches. It budded, blossomed, and its clusters ripened into grapes. I pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and placed it in his hand." The baker hesitated, fear clouding his eyes. "In my dream," he said, "I carried 3 baskets of bread on my head. In the uppermost were all kinds of baked food for Pharaoh, and birds ate them from the basket." Joseph lowered his gaze for a moment. "The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head from you, and the birds will eat your flesh." A hush filled the dungeon. 3 days passed. On the 3rd day, Pharaoh's birthday was celebrated. One man was restored. The other was taken to his death. Joseph's words had come true, exactly as foretold. As the cupbearer was freed, Joseph said gently, "Remember me before your king. Tell him of the one unjustly imprisoned." But when the man returned to the world of light, he forgot. Days turned to months, and months to years. Still Joseph remained in the prison, patient, steadfast, serene. He prayed not for freedom, but for purpose. And in the stillness of that prayer, destiny moved unseen. One night, Pharaoh himself dreamed a dream that tore his sleep apart. He saw 7 fat cows grazing by the Nile. Then 7 lean cows came and devoured them, yet remained as thin as before. He awoke, shaken. Then he dreamed again. 7 ears of grain, full and green, were swallowed by 7 dry and withered ones. When dawn broke, the palace was in turmoil. Pharaoh called for his wise men, magicians, and priests. They listened to his dreams and stood silent. None could explain. Then, in that moment, the cupbearer remembered the dungeon, the boy, the light. He rushed forward and said, "My king, I recall my fault today. There was a young man in the prison, a truthful one. He interpreted our dreams, and all came to pass exactly as he said." Pharaoh's eyes narrowed with curiosity. "Bring him to me." The guards descended into the prison. But when they came to Joseph and said, The king calls for you." He did not rush to leave. "Return to your master," he said, "and ask him about the women who cut their hands. Let my name be cleared before I stand before the throne." When Pharaoh heard these words, he summoned the women who had once whispered and plotted. "What was your affair when you sought to tempt this man?" he asked. They bowed their heads and said, "God forbid. We found no evil in him." Then the wife of the governor spoke, her voice trembling like wind among reeds. "Now the truth is clear. It was I who sought him, but he was of the truthful." And so Joseph's honor was restored, not by men, but by the justice of God. Then he was brought before Pharaoh. The ruler of Egypt looked upon him and saw a calm unlike any he had known. The young man's presence carried the weight of peace and truth. Pharaoh said, "I have dreamed, and none can interpret it. I see 7 fat cows, devoured by 7 lean ones. I see 7 full ears of grain, swallowed by 7 dry ones. Tell me what this means, if you are among the wise." Joseph replied with quiet strength, "O king, the 2 dreams are one. For 7 years, the land will yield abundance. After them will come 7 years of famine that will consume all that was stored. And after that will come a year of mercy, in which rain will return and people will rejoice." Pharaoh leaned forward, astonished. "And what do you advise?" Joseph said, "Appoint a wise and trustworthy man over the storehouses of the land, to collect grain during the years of plenty, and guard it for the years of hardship." A silence followed. Then Pharaoh stood and said, "Who is wiser or more trustworthy than you? Today, you are established over the storehouses of Egypt. You shall be honored, and none shall act without your command." And Pharaoh placed his royal ring upon Joseph's hand, clothed him in fine garments, and placed a golden chain around his neck. The boy who was cast into a well now stood as a ruler among kings. He rode through the streets of Egypt as people bowed in respect, yet his heart remained bowed only to God. Joseph watched the fields and the rivers with eyes that remembered every trial: the well, the betrayal, the prison. Each one had been a step toward this moment. He whispered softly, "My Lord, you have given me power and taught me the interpretation of dreams. Creator of heaven and earth, you are my guardian in this world and the next." And the winds carried his words through the golden fields, as the Nile shimmered beneath the sun. And so the boy once thrown into a well now stood before the throne of a king. From the darkness of betrayal to the light of destiny, Joseph had risen. But this was not the end, it was the beginning of something far greater. For soon, the famine would strike the lands, and the brothers who once sold him would come, begging for mercy from the one they betrayed. What happens when the dreamer meets his past? We'll uncover it in Part 4, The Reunion and the Revelation. If this story moved your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter of this divine journey. See you in the next part.